When a man is truly into you, you'll feel it before he ever says a word, because his body will tell on him. Attraction, at its core, is instinctive. It bypasses logic and spills out through movement, expression, and energy. Before his mind has time to filter or strategize, his posture, eyes, and gestures begin to communicate what he feels. You'll see it in the way he leans a little closer when you speak, how his shoulders angle toward you even in a crowded room, or how his eyes linger just long enough to tell you that his attention isn't casual, it's deliberate. This kind of nonverbal communication is one of the oldest languages we have as human beings. Long before we had the words to say, "I like you," we had the ability to show it. And while we've become more sophisticated in every other area of life, attraction still operates on this primal, body-level communication. When a man likes you, his body literally starts syncing with his emotions. His eyes track you without him realizing it. His voice softens when he talks to you. He becomes more expressive, more present. It's as though his entire being is quietly saying, asterisk, "You have my attention." Asterisk, what's fascinating is that most men aren't even aware they're doing it. It's not a tactic or a performance, it's biology. Psychologists talk about nonverbal leakage, the moments when our true feelings leak out through subtle, involuntary behavior. So even the most confident, self-controlled man can't completely hide his attraction. It's in how often he looks for your reaction when he makes a joke. It's in the quick adjustment of his shirt, or the way he unconsciously stands a bit taller when you walk into the room. Those are instinctive responses driven by something far deeper than conscious choice. And if you pay attention, you'll notice that his body language doesn't just reveal attraction, it reveals intention. There's a difference between a man who's flirtatious by nature and a man whose energy narrows when you're around. The first seeks attention, the second offers it. A man who's genuinely into you doesn't just display interest, he demonstrates focus. His body stops scanning the environment because, for that moment, you are the environment. But here's the deeper truth. The reason this matters isn't just to catch signs of attraction. It's to understand how authentic connection works, because real chemistry isn't built through effort. It's revealed through awareness. You start noticing the man who doesn't just look at you, but looks for you, the one who isn't performing, but naturally aligns with your space. That's when you start to distinguish attraction that's rooted in ego from attraction that's rooted in emotion. And when you learn to observe instead of chase, you reclaim your power. You stop mistaking words for proof and start reading what's real. Because bodies don't lie, they tell the truth even when the mind won't. So the next time you wonder if a man is into you, don't listen for what he says. Watch for what his body does when you walk into the room. Because real attraction doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself, one unconscious move at a time. When a man is truly into you, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. He begins to mirror your energy, not in a rehearsed or manipulative way, but instinctively. His tone starts to match yours, his pace aligns with yours, and even his emotional rhythm seems to find harmony with yours. This isn't about imitation, it's about attunement. His subconscious is tuning into you, reading you, adjusting to your emotional temperature without even realizing it. It's his body and mind saying, I want to be in sync with you. Psychologists call this the mirroring effect. A deeply human phenomenon that happens when two people are emotionally connected. It's not exclusive to romantic attraction. It appears between friends, family, even strangers when they truly engage. But in romantic interest, it becomes amplified. When he likes you, he doesn't just hear your words, he feels them. His body starts responding to your cues, as if there's an invisible conversation happening beyond the verbal one. You'll see it in how he starts to use similar phrases or expressions, how he matches your level of enthusiasm, or how he subtly mirrors your posture. If you lean in, he leans in. If you laugh, he laughs, sometimes a second too late, as if your joy triggered his. And it's not an act of flattery, it's biology trying to bridge a gap. The human brain seeks connection through familiarity, and when he mirrors you, he's creating a subconscious message. Asterisk, you and I are the same. Asterisk, this is what makes chemistry so intoxicating. It's not just about physical attraction. It's about feeling understood without having to explain yourself. When two people's energies align, conversation flows easier, silence feels natural, and time seems to move differently. That alignment, that mirroring, is the emotional glue that builds comfort and trust. Now, here's where the distinction becomes important. Not all mirroring means deep connection. Some people mirror because they're seeking approval, not because they feel genuine chemistry. The difference is presence. When someone is truly present with you, their mirroring doesn't feel performative. It feels organic. You don't sense effort. You sense ease. That's how you know it's real. When a man likes you, he doesn't just adjust his behavior to please you. He adjusts his energy because he wants to meet you where you are. It's empathy in motion. His laughter feels warmer when you're happy. His tone softens when you're vulnerable. It's as though his emotional frequency shifts to create resonance with yours. And that's not manipulation. That's connection at its most honest level. Philosophically, this tells us something profound about attraction itself. Love begins where understanding begins. The act of mirroring is his unconscious way of saying, asterisk, I see you, I feel you, I get you. Asterisk, it's a reflection, not just of your behavior, but of your emotional world. That's why it feels safe, because to be mirrored is to be acknowledged, to know that someone is not just nearby, but asterisk with asterisk you, and that's the beauty of it. When a man's energy naturally aligns with yours, it's not about control or strategy. It's about chemistry doing what it's meant to do. Connect two people beyond words, beyond logic, beyond effort. Because in the end, real attraction doesn't try to match you. It just does. When a man is genuinely drawn to you, you'll notice he starts finding reasons to stay in your orbit. It's rarely bold or dramatic. In fact, it often looks casual, even coincidental. But make no mistake, those moments aren't accidents. When someone feels pulled toward you, their behavior begins to organize itself around that pull. He might show up where you are, offer to help with something small, or linger in a conversation just long enough to make it clear that he doesn't really want it to end. His logic may say one thing, but his presence says something else entirely. Asterisk, he wants to be near you. Asterisk, and it's not always about proximity in the literal sense. Sometimes it's digital. He replies quickly to your messages. He looks for small openings to keep a conversation going. He sends something random just to re-engage. It's not that he doesn't have other things to do. He does, but emotionally, his focus keeps circling back to you. That's what attraction does. It rearranges a person's priorities without asking for permission. Now, the beautiful thing about this stage of attraction is that it reveals intent without forcing words. You don't need a confession when the evidence is written in his behavior. He'll just happen to be around. He'll suggest plans that give him an excuse to see you again. He'll make subtle efforts to occupy the same emotional and physical space as you because being close to you feels rewarding in itself. He's not strategizing, he's gravitating. Psychologically, what's happening here is rooted in one of the deepest human needs, the desire for emotional resonance. When someone makes us feel seen, alive, or at ease, our mind starts seeking more of that experience. It's like a form of emotional gravity. For a man, that might manifest as these small, consistent gestures of presence, because being near you is how he gets to feel that spark again. He's not chasing validation, he's chasing connection, even if he doesn't consciously realize it. But this is where you need awareness. A man's actions in this stage reveal far more than his words ever could. If he finds reasons to be close but never crosses the threshold into genuine vulnerability, he's orbiting you without depth. But if he uses that proximity to build something real, to understand you, to support you, to make you feel valued, then what you're seeing isn't just attraction, it's emotional investment. Philosophically, this all points to something fundamental about relationships. Love, at its beginning, is a series of small decisions to stay close. People think connection happens in one big moment, but it doesn't. It happens in 1,000 little choices, each one saying, asterisk, I want to be here, asterisk, that's what he's showing you, over and over again, when he finds those reasons to stay around. So when you catch him doing it, showing up, staying longer, finding excuses to be near, don't dismiss it as coincidence. See it for what it is, an instinctive act of care disguised as casual interest, because in the end, a man who keeps finding his way back to you isn't lost. He's following something real, something that doesn't need to be forced, because his heart has already decided where it feels most at home. When a man genuinely likes you, something subtle but significant begins to shift. His guard comes down, not all at once, not dramatically, but gradually, piece by piece. And that's important to understand, because men often move through the world with emotional armor. They're taught to project strength, to stay composed, to never let anyone see uncertainty or vulnerability. But when attraction turns into genuine connection, that armor begins to soften. Around you, he doesn't feel the same pressure to perform. He starts to relax, to show the edges of who he really is beneath the surface. You'll notice this not through big confessions, but through small moments of authenticity. The man who usually keeps things light might share something a little deeper. The one who always seems in control might stumble over his words or laugh at himself. It's not clumsiness, it's realness. He's not trying to impress you anymore, he's trying to connect with you, and that's an enormous distinction. Attraction rooted in ego wants to be admired. Attraction rooted in authenticity wants to be understood. When he lets his guard down, he's allowing you into the parts of his world that most people never see. That might look like talking about his fears, his failures, or his ambitions, the things that make him human. Or it might be even simpler. He teases you playfully, shares a side of humor or warmth that he doesn't show often, or admits that something actually affects him. These are all signs that you've become a space of safety for him, and in a man's life, that's rare, because vulnerability for many men isn't natural, it's earned. Psychologically, this happens because attraction creates emotional exposure. When he feels drawn to you, his internal defenses start to conflict with his desire to connect. He's torn between the instinct to protect himself and the need to be seen. But when you meet that openness with empathy instead of judgment, his trust grows. That's when he starts revealing not just the highlights, but the real textures of who he is. He begins to show emotion not as a weakness, but as an offering. And that's when attraction deepens into something meaningful. Philosophically, this moment of dropping the guard represents one of the most honest exchanges two people can have, because what he's really saying is, asterisk, I trust you with my truth, asterisk, and that's not small. In a world built on appearances and performance, vulnerability is an act of courage. It's his way of saying, you matter enough for me to stop pretending. And when you respond with presence and respect, you're telling him, you're safe here. That emotional reciprocity is the soil in which real connection grows. But here's where the real lesson lies. When a man feels free to be himself around you, it's not just a sign that he likes you. It's a reflection of the energy you bring. Because safety invites honesty, you don't have to demand openness, you inspire it. You create it by being grounded, compassionate, and genuine yourself. So when you see that shift, when his voice softens, when he lets you glimpse the truth behind the confidence, recognize it for what it is. It's not weakness, it's trust in its purest form. And in the end, the moment a man feels he can be fully himself around you is the moment he stops being guarded and starts being real. And that's where attraction becomes something far more powerful than chemistry. It becomes connection. When a man truly likes you, one of the most telling signs isn't in what he says, it's in how present he becomes. You can feel it. It's in the way his attention sharpens when you speak, how he remembers small details you mentioned days ago, how he subtly adjusts his schedule to align with yours. Presence is one of the most powerful indicators of attraction because it's the one thing people can't fake for long. Anyone can send a text, pay a compliment, or flirt for attention, but consistent, undivided presence that comes from genuine interest, you'll notice it in the way he listens. Not the kind of listening that's waiting for a turn to speak, but the kind that's fully absorbed, where you sense that, in that moment, nothing else exists for him but you and the conversation happening between you. That's not just romantic behavior, it's emotional focus, and emotional focus is the truest form of validation. It says, "You matter enough for me to be here now." Men are often taught to show interest through action, doing things, fixing things, providing. But the subtle art of presence goes deeper than that. It's about emotional engagement, where his energy aligns with yours, not to impress, but to connect. When a man is into you, you'll feel that engagement even in silence. He's attuned, not necessarily intense, but attentive. He notices your tone, your expressions, your comfort level. He adjusts, not because he's trying to be perfect, but because he wants to create ease around you. Psychologically, this happens because attraction triggers heightened awareness. When we care about someone, our brain naturally filters for details related to them. It's why he remembers the story you told about your childhood or the coffee you like without ever making a note of it. This isn't strategy, it's instinct. He's tuned into you because, on some level, you've become meaningful to him. The human mind prioritizes what it values, and that's exactly what you're seeing play out when he shows up with consistent awareness. Philosophically, presence is love in motion. It's the silent acknowledgement that connection isn't about grand gestures, but about attention, the kind that says, "I see you." Most people underestimate how powerful it is to be fully seen by someone. To have another person look at you not through the lens of what they want from you, but through genuine curiosity about who you are. That kind of attention is magnetic because it creates safety. It builds an invisible thread of trust that words alone can't replicate. And here's the deeper truth. Presence reveals priorities. A man might say he's busy, distracted, focused on his career, and that may be true, but we all make time for what we truly value. When he's present, even in small moments, it's a quiet declaration. You matter enough for me to show up. So, when you find yourself wondering whether a man is truly interested, don't get caught up in the noise. Look at where his attention goes. Because love, attraction, connection, they all start with focus. You can't care about what you don't notice, and you can't connect with what you don't give time to. In the end, presence isn't just proof that he likes you. It's evidence that you've captured his awareness. And in a world full of distractions, That's one of the rarest and most meaningful things anyone can offer. One of the clearest indicators that a man is truly into you is the way he invests effort into creating a sense of emotional safety around you. He may not articulate it directly, most men rarely do, but his behavior starts communicating something powerful. I want you to feel comfortable here with me. This isn't about grand gestures or constant reassurance. It's about the way he subtly tunes into your emotional state, adjusts his tone, and makes you feel at ease simply by being present in a grounded, consistent way. Men don't usually open up in spaces that feel uncertain or emotionally unpredictable. So, when he starts working, consciously or not, to make your connection feel stable, that's a signal that his interest runs deep. You'll notice it in the way he tries to make plans instead of keeping things vague. You'll see it in how he checks in after an argument, or how he listens when something's clearly bothering you instead of brushing it off. It's not perfection, it's effort, and that effort reveals something essential about his emotional investment. Psychologically, when someone feels genuine attraction and respect, their nervous system starts responding differently. They become more aware of your emotional cues, your silences, your energy, the slight changes in your expression. A man who's into you becomes attuned not because he's trying to decode you, but because he genuinely cares about how you feel. He wants to know that you're okay around him. This is emotional maturity in motion, the transition from attraction based on chemistry to connection rooted in care. Philosophically, what's happening here is something even deeper. He's creating what psychologists call relational safety, the invisible foundation upon which intimacy can grow. Without it, attraction burns bright but fast. With it, attraction deepens and endures. When a man is truly into you, he's not just chasing the high of connection. He's building a space where both of you can breathe, where neither of you has to perform. He might tease, he might challenge you, but underneath it all, there's consistency, a quiet reliability that says you don't have to wonder where you stand. And here's something to think about. Emotional safety isn't only created through comfort, it's built through respect. He respects your boundaries, your pace, your individuality. He doesn't rush intimacy or demand attention. Instead, he invests in understanding you, because real connection isn't about control, it's about trust. And the man who genuinely likes you understands that trust is not something you take, it's something you earn. The irony is that the most confident men, the ones who seem unshakable, often reveal their depth not through dominance but through gentleness. When a man feels secure in himself, he doesn't need to prove power, he can give peace. That calmness is one of the most attractive qualities you'll ever experience because it's rare. It's the quiet signal of someone who's not just interested in your attention, but in your comfort, your truth, your ease. So when you notice that he goes out of his way to make things simple for you, to avoid unnecessary tension, to bring clarity instead of confusion, that's not just kindness. It's intention. It's his way of saying, without words, I want to be a place where you feel safe. And that, ultimately, is the most powerful move a man can make when he truly likes you. Because when someone makes you feel safe enough to be yourself, they're not just showing attraction, they're showing readiness, and that's the kind of connection worth recognizing and protecting when it finds you.